Okay, sweet peas, munchkin butts, and potato heads. Today's date is 12/23/2020, and my name is Leslie Williams. Now, hold on a second. I'm just getting over a head cold. Alright, sorry about that. I wanted to plug my charger in. Alright, let's see if anything occurs that causes this video not to be saved to the gallery. I have auto save to gallery on, and auto delete after 24 hours is off. That's what my Periscope setting is always set at. Let's see if anything causes this video not to be saved. Let's see if anything occurs that causes it to be interrupted. As a result, it doesn't get saved. Now, I literally got to make these type of statements when I make videos, when I remember to make them, because of the simple fact that as a direct result of me being a continued target of this demonic, depraved crime called gang stalking victims, all gang stalking victims, eventually experience and re-experience the techniques of cyber sabotage. Okay, and cyber sabotage does absolutely entail the intentional disruptions of our exposures. That means tweets on Twitters, email files, blog, Facebook if you use it. I don't use Facebook, but I think you understand. No matter what social online platform you're using, no matter what device you're using, these psychotic murdering animals will make sure that they sabotage any and every single thing you do. When you're making videos and predicting it, if I put a tweet on Twitter saying, "Get ready to make a Periscope video, let's see if it gets sabotaged," and then it gets sabotaged, well, then that will look a little obvious. But they have sabotaged massive amounts of my videos that are spread out over 5 separate Periscope accounts. So trust me when I say I got absolute, complete reason to be saying, hold on, excuse me please, what I just said. Now, I apologize for the burping. I just got done eating an early dinner. It's getting dark out here now in San Diego at 5 p.m., so I gotta if I'm gonna cook something, I gotta make sure that it's cooked and eaten so I can get everything re-wrapped back up before it gets dark out. Oh, alright, hold on a second. Oh. Alright, oh. Okay, sorry, I got a piece of lint in my mouth. Alright, so I'm gonna talk to you just for a little bit. This isn't gonna be a very long video, because this is a video that I decided to make while I was wrapping up, cleaning up, the cooking stuff that I get out in order to make dinner. So, I decided to make this video in order to add some additional predictions concerning what might occur before I leave the Octopus Tree location, which is a location that I utilize in San Diego as a direct result of this crime intentionally making me homeless from at least four apartments in Michigan and one in Tennessee. I also want you to know that I did paste my current blog's URL link in the title of this Periscope video. So copy down its URL characters, type them in at your URL address bar, press enter on your keyboard, and you should have no problems bringing it up. So now what you need to also understand is right now in that current blog, there's only about 20% of what was originally in the blog. The blog was entered, I believe it was on September 18th, 2020, by third parties at the FedEx store located here in La Jolla, San Diego, California, on September 18th, 2020. And then the little satanic rats who did it took every single thing out of the blog and then even erased the blog's link. Now, that's been done in the past, too, and then after that's been done in the past, the blog magically reappeared. So I don't know what the fuck, I don't know if it's just being done for gaslighting purposes. I don't know if that's being done in order to make you think that the blog has been totally gone, so you gotta go through all the steps of repasting the contents in it. Who fucking knows? Because I'm not even gonna begin to try and crawl up into the insane, pathological thinking of a criminally insane animal. Okay? So, if I keep trying to pick apart every little single thing these satanic rats do, my mind will constantly be non-stop, 24/7, literally every second of the day, trying to figure out trying to understand why they do what they do. And check this out, I already know a great deal of why they do what they do, okay? So I strongly suggest, trust me, I strongly suggest that you go into the profile of this account and watch any and all videos. Now, today, hold on one second. today, what I did today, let me just grab this thing here real fast. Hold on. Alright, just give me one more second, because I'm grabbing some stuff so I can deal with it. Related to what I used to cook with. Because, again, I want to get this stuff done while I'm talking to you. Now, another thing to always remember when it comes to at least my targeting is that it's now 2020. The open gang stalking started with me in 2002 in Michigan, and since then I've been gang stalked along every single place I've lived and every single place that I went to in 4 friggin' states. Okay? In 4 states. So do you honestly think it's going to stop? And in my other video exposures, you'll clearly hear detailed statements that will help you conclude that they have no plans on stopping, and how this crime is controls the courts and the judges and all these other either directly connected jerks within our city, state, and county and city governments, and or the fact that they can at least be controlled by them. Because gang stalking is a nationwide program. It's, again, I've said this in practically every video, but I kind of want to repeat it for the sake of first-time viewers so they can hear a little bit of how this can be done. Because you got to remember, I'm going to segue into a subject matter, so I want them to have some idea about who's implicated in hosting it. Okay? The main implicated entities that are implicated by tens of thousands of people all over the internet, on every social platform you can think of, because that's really basically the only thing that a gang stalking victim has left until they completely target that as well, is their ability to get online and expose what they know, expose what they've endured, and the details concerning it. Okay? So, there's tens of thousands of posts on the internet of gang stalking victims, and as well as scientists, doctors, researchers, and many other people, including massive amounts of accredited people who study this crime online, who are not gang stalking victims. And they're all friggin' saying the same thing. Even the ACLU has implicated the intelligence agencies and state and local cops being the main identified perpetrator. Now, you can easily surmise that they're definitely involved in it when you look at the fact that not one of these not one of these described entities are investigating not one case. And there's hundreds of thousands of victims all over America. Tens of thousands of those are reporting what they're enduring online daily. And you should also know that gang stalking victims, a great majority of gang stalking victims, don't even know yet what they're enduring is called gang stalking. So it would be very hard for anybody to get online and be the only thing that a person is, like when I was being targeted, yes, I did expose what I was enduring in part. All of those exposures got manipulated by these satanic whores in Michigan, okay? And they also manipulated my exposures that I made in Tennessee as well. But check this out. If you don't know about gang stalking, then you're not going to be able to research it by its name, and you're not going to be able to find out things you don't know yet. So trust me when I say, on June 9, 2009, the day I discovered gang stalking online, after already experiencing it for 7 years, once the open gang stalking started, because they were already sabotaging and destroying my life many years prior to that, many, many, many years, and that is an absolute common statement that all victims eventually state. Oh, absolutely. Because when you start experiencing the community-based gang stalking and all the crimes connected to it, and the escalation of other aspects that are done through this crime, you start saying to yourself, okay, what I just endured last month, I can remember enduring 10 years ago, and what I endured 10 years ago was identical to a T from A to Z concerning what I just endured a month ago. Identical in its perpetration, identical in everything that went on, and if anybody was involved in protecting it, concerning both occasions, then more than likely that too. So, because you can once you become a gang stalking victim, okay, they can employ several aspects of this crime against you and your life, or they can employ just one or two and let you linger on trying to survive maybe how they're managing some of the destruction of your life, and let you linger on for years in those effects, okay, while they might be doing other things in your life that they're setting up right now that they then plan on bring it about towards you in the future, which can absolutely include intimate infiltration, social infiltration. Massive amounts of victims are openly stating that they're enduring family infiltration through this crime. Absolutely. So this crime it's extremely insidious. It's extremely deceitful. Oh, absolutely. And one of the best things that a gang stalking victim, once they become an open gang stalking victim or not, one of the best things that happens to them is discovering the name of the crime they're enduring. Because as a result, you can then go to the internet and do massive research and come to understand things that you're not currently putting the pieces together about. Understand things that you have not experienced yet, so you know what to look out for. Understand why it's going on, who's involved, who's massively implicated in hosting it, and so on and so forth. So who are the main implicated, depraved, psycho, mass-murdering whores who are implicated to be hosting this crime? And trust me when I say I'm being polite when I use that kind of language concerning these wild animals. That is being polite as a person can be. Literally, that is no exaggeration. Make no mistake about it. So check it out. The main implicated satanic rats who are massively implicated in hosting this crime are the following, but not limited to: the NSA, the CIA, the FBI, the DOJ, okay? Who else? The DOD, many defense contractors as well. Did I leave anybody out? Fusion centers. So research every single alphabet agency that you can think of that's got to do with intelligence to gang stalking. Okay? And then research the others, like the DOD, the fusion centers, and then you got the state, county, and local cops who are also massively implicated. But there's also a lot of other individuals that play very big roles in this crime who are equally as important as the implicated satanic rats who are hosting it. And that also includes absolutely doctors, hospitals, medical clinics, medical centers, nurses, administrative staff, because these little these individuals connected to this crime play a huge role in the exploitation of the victim, the discrediting of the victim, as well as state, county, and local cops, and even federal assholes. Okay, so, apologize for the language. So just do your research. And you're going to have to be patient in your research, because this crime is extremely massive, and it's extremely interesting. Hold on. Now, I have stated the following in several of my exposures, and I'm going to state it again. I'm just an average person like you. I'm literally just an average person like you. I'm not rich. In fact, I'm below the poverty level. All right, hold on a second. I'm below the poverty level. I'm an average citizen just like you. I don't break any laws. I don't do drugs. I don't drink. I don't hang around anybody at all, and never have for even 1 second since I've been in San Diego since August 8, 2011. I made that choice before coming to San Diego from Connecticut because I know that social infiltration is a huge aspect of gang stalking. It's how I ended up being exploited in Michigan. So that decision was made long before I even came back to San Diego on August 8, 2011. It was made in Connecticut. That once I got to San Diego, and I did not hang around anybody at all, not even for a second, in Connecticut. And I went to Connecticut from Michigan. Okay? So I have literally not hung around anybody at all, not even for a second, since I've been in San Diego since August 8, 2011. And I've seen that these little psychotic rats prop up a few people along my routes who were going out of their way to act real friendly and sparking up in-depth, long conversations, okay, trying to break the ice. And how do people become friends? Well, they usually become friends by either being introduced or somehow sparking up a conversation wherever, and then that conversation leads into a long one, and then maybe you stumble across them again, and I think you're getting the idea. Well, trust me when I say I got so much friggin' experience concerning this crime and the social infiltration connected to it. Me making that choice in Connecticut before coming to San Diego is probably one of the biggest reasons why worse crimes haven't happened to me yet. Since I've been in San Diego since August 8, 2011. Absolutely. And I've already been brutally assaulted physically 9 times. Okay, in San Diego since 2011. Absolutely. On top of other extreme massive crimes. Oh my gosh. Alright, so just stay with me. Hold on a second, because you got to remember I'm still doing stuff while I'm talking to you, because I got to get things done here. I've stated this in many of my videos. Sometimes I'll make my videos when I'm in between projects, and that's kind of the most perfect time for me to make a video, because as a result of doing the project, I can't do other things that would demand my attention. And so it's kind of like I got a loose open end there of time to be able to make one and then still be able to get certain other projects done. So, you know, I am going to be a little bit distracted, a teeny bit preoccupied as I'm talking to you, and I apologize for that. But trust me when I say my videos are made well enough to where you take every single thing from it that I attempt to expose within it out of it. So you're not going to miss anything as a result of me being a little preoccupied. Alright? You're going to experience a couple brief, very brief interruptions, and that's it. Okay, so anyways, now, there's a lot going on when it comes to gang stalking. Gang stalking is this crime connected to gang stalking. These little six psychotic, absolute mass murdering wild animals. Again, go into the profile of this account, because I'm not going to be able to make a lot of expanded details on what I'm going to present to you in this video, but you might get a better understanding of how, when I state what I state in this video, some of the statements that I made in prior videos will complement my statements. I've been noticing a lot of things that these little psychotic horrors have been doing in the past 2.5 years, and especially in the last year, and especially in the last 9 months. What they've been doing is bebopping back and... Well, they've always been doing this, but I've been noticing in the past year or so, they have been massively going out of their way to create new anchors, which is related to the sensitization method of gang stalking, to create new anchors in my mind to them, so they can then employ the new anchors in order to cultivate more brain entrainment, and in order to keep the mind focused on this crime, because that's one of the main goals of this crime, is brain entrainment. In fact, I'd say at least 85% of everything a gang stalking victim is enduring, whether it's through the community-based harassment, whether it's through directed energy weapons, whether it's through any other remote technologies that these mass murdering horrors are using against any and all victims, at least 85% of that has to do with brain entrainment. Okay, because as an example, because I've never really expanded on this, and in fact, I think I've talked about this a little bit in a prior Periscope account, but let me give you an example real fast of what I mean. Say if you're a gang stalking victim, and you're just pay attention closely. So say if you're a victim of this crime, and you're hit in the brain, literally, Google all my statements, because there's tens of thousands of posts exposing what I'm stating. And most of what I state in my videos has even been repeatedly covered on national radio shows, including ones I've been on. So trust me when I say it doesn't... If you don't know anything about gang stalking, I say something, you think to yourself, what? What the hell is that? What does that mean? That sounds bizarre. Okay, and walk away. Well, then you're not going to benefit from you understanding what you would understand if you stayed with the video. Because gang stalking is an extremely unique crime. It's not a crime that's like robbery, rape, burglary, or anything like that, even though this crime perpetrates those crimes as well. So let me just kind of segue into what I was leading to. Now, but give me one more second. Let me put something away here. In fact, I just remembered something. One more second. I just remembered something, okay, that I can state that is even going to back up what I was going to say. So, the vast majority of reporting gang stalking victims who are on the internet are saying that they're being hit with directed energy weapons, ultrasonic sound bone conduction, the microwave hearing effect, remote neural monitoring, voice to skull with voice morphing. Now, these are all technologies that these mass murdering horrors can use on each victim from a remote distance. They can be outside your home, they can be outside of a business you're at, they can be outside of a library you're at, they can be on the other end of a park you're at, they can be anywhere that you're at. Because from what's reported on the internet as of right now, there's about 19 different platforms that these mass murdering whores are using in order to effect these types of technologies upon a gang stalking victim's neurological and biological systems. So, trust me when I say, as a direct result of them having so many different platforms that they can perpetrate this remote technology onto the victim from, that affords them the ability to stay covert. Okay? And you got to remember as well, no matter where it's coming from, whether it's, I'll mention a few of the things that's reported on the internet, so that will give you a little bit more descriptions for you to research. It's reported that directed energy weapons can come from space satellites, stationary satellites that are in your community as well, planes, drones, Gwen towers, cell phone towers. Okay, even rudimentary antennas can be have been reported to be used concerning them being able to affect a certain measure of it up on you. Wi-Fi is another one that's massively reported. Okay, let's see. So if I think it can be carried around in vans, cars, trucks. Some of it is scaled down to the size to where it can be carried in lunch boxes, backpacks, briefcases. Okay, and they even have devices as small as tablets and phones. Okay, so you should also research the neurophone. Now, these just aforementioned descriptions can be applied. Some of them can be applied to directed energy weapons. Other ones can be applied to voice to skull. Other ones might be able to be applied to remote neural monitoring. So it's like a mishmash, and you'll start to discover what's massively reported online over time when you research these texts concerning their modes of operation, and the apparatuses that they also depend on concerning certain platforms. Okay, so as a result of them having so many different modes of operations and platforms and apparatuses and so on, this affords them the ability to hit a victim pretty much anywhere the victim's at. A victim can be on a plane, a yacht, okay, on a rowboat, okay, in the desert. It doesn't matter. Okay, so let me give you an example of how brain entrainment can be connected to directed energy weapons attacks to the brain and or body. Now, say if you're walking down the street and you stub your toe, just hear me out. Say if you're walking down the street and you stub your toe. Well, I don't know about you, but sometimes when you stub your toe, it can really hurt. Especially if you got any ingrown toenails or anything like that. It can really hurt. Just like it can really hurt when a guy's working on his engine on his car and he's trying to fasten a nut and a bolt and the wrench slips off. Okay, the nut that he's trying to screw, and then all of a sudden his hand goes down full force onto the engine block, and he breaks his knuckles, or he scabs them up real bad. That's instant major pain. Now, so I know that if you're a guy, you know what I'm talking about, and I know most human beings have eventually stubbed their toe to where it produced some pretty bad pain instantly. Now, I brought those two things up because those are two great examples for you to understand concerning how the body can be instantly hit, and then the body will then feel instant pain. Okay? Well, when you're hit with certain measures of directed energy weapons, you instantly feel it. In fact, a lot of times, most victims are being hit with such bad attacks to where they literally feel the energy go right through their brain in real time. Meaning that you're not just feeling it entering the skull and then entering the brain. You're literally feeling it hit the skull and then go directly through the brain. I am aware of a specific gang stalking victim who's been hit so bad that they literally heard their skull crackle when they got hit. Absolutely. Who do you think that person is? Now, so when you're hit with certain measures of directed energy weapons and all the other demonic tech these satanic mass murdering whores are using, you have an instant pain reflex response. Because those pain signals are notifying your brain that the body is in danger no matter where you're being hit at. Now, as a result of this, say that this is happening to a gang stalking victim who knows they're a gang stalking victim, who knows that these psychotic rats are using these weapons on them, and obviously is aware of the weapons themselves. So they know that the victim's brain is going to unconsciously and consciously perceive the attack and the pain effects from it. As a direct result, the victim's mind is going to go directly into disassociation, because that's what the brain does when it's being traumatized. And you should also know that these attacks also produce long-term traumatic brain injury, physical traumatic brain injury, where they're literally killing areas of the brain that will never recover. Okay? Where the brain matter is literally turning white. And ultrasonic sound bone conduction causes the brain to experience non-stop consecutive concussions, as well as many other attacks. Why do you think I call these satanic rats mass murdering, wild, demonic, raping, gang raping, human trafficking whores? Because that's exactly what the fuck they are. Absolutely. They're mass murderers. I mean, think about what I'm saying. They're doing this to hundreds of thousands of freaking people, including kids, even including infants of targets. So do you honestly think these sound like sane people? No, they're criminally insane. They're demented. They're depraved. They make Jeffrey Dahmer look like a choir boy. They're absolutely criminally insane. Now, we all know that the mass murderers throughout history were criminally insane. You can be intelligent and you can be rational while you're criminally insane. Look at all these mass murderers like Ted Bundy and Jeffrey Dahmer. They were very calculating in their crimes. They prepared for their crimes. Then they meticulously followed through on the actions, okay, to commit the crimes. This took rational thought. Now, a person who's got criminal insanity in their mind, who's literally criminally insane, forensically and even biologically, who's criminally insane, can still think rational thoughts. So just because a bunch of criminally insane, demonic, idiots in the military and the DOD and defense contractors sit back and say, okay, well, I'm being told to do this, I'm being paid for it, so I got no mental or emotional connection to it, I'm getting paid for it, that's their rationale. But it still does not mean that they're not criminally insane. Because you got to be criminally insane to be torturing hundreds of thousands of people. You got to be criminally insane to torture one person. But they don't care. They already know exactly what they're doing to each victim concerning the depth and measure of what they're causing and what they're intentionally affecting, including long-term cancer and terminal cancer. They know it all, but they don't care. That's another aspect of their criminal insanity. Okay? Their brains are hardwired in different ways concerning the great majority of the rest of the population. These are psychopaths, sociopaths. Criminally insane psychopaths and sociopaths. So they don't give a flying fuck about what I think about what they do to me or any other victim, or about what they do care in a limited way about what the population thinks, because they know that this crime in of itself would destroy this government overnight. It would destroy the military overnight. Generals have been fired overnight for accidentally saying things to the press concerning some of the weapons that are being used on gang stalking victims. They were literally immediately fired. Absolutely. And you'll discover that when you start researching this crime. So these fucking satanic rats know they're mass murderers, but they don't care. But they also know, though, that if the great majority of the population finds out about it, they know what will instantly happen overnight. The fucking government would literally fall overnight if this got out. If it got out to the general population's conscious awareness that hundreds of thousands of Americans are being sadistically tortured to death daily, do you honestly fucking think that the American population would not rise up? And make no mistake about it, it's been repeatedly said by doctors, scientists, and ex-alphabet agency personnel who have exposed these crimes all over the internet, that these fucking crimes are coming to everyone. That's even been exposed by ex-Army intelligence personnel. Do you think maybe there might be any psychotronic neurological stimulation going on when these riots were happening? Where everybody just fucking went out on the street and started beating up strangers out of the blue? Do you really honestly think that was natural? Well, they can trick the human brain into believing that this is their own anger if they stroke the anger and pain of a specific race, and then stimulate the brain into rage, and then they'll just think that it's their own rage because something just happened that they felt was the last straw. That's how insidious this motherfucking technology can be. Literally. This technology can literally cause a whole entire group to go insane at the flip of a switch. You should also research HAARP and psychotronics at YouTube. In fact, go to YouTube and type in Nick Bagage or Nick Bagridge. His last name I think is spelled B-G-H-R-I-C-H. Nick Bagridge, and then HAARP Technology. There's a video that's on the internet. I think it's about an hour and 42 minutes long. Watch that video, and then take that information from that and cross-reference it to all the data that comes up from your research from what I expose concerning the technologies that I expose within my exposures. Okay? You'll be able to start to put it together. Fucking remote neural monitoring is massively implicated to be going on through Wi-Fi. And fucking Wi-Fi is everywhere. Any Wi-Fi. Anywhere at any time. Make no mistake about it. You know, when a bunch of satanic rats, total strangers, come up into your life with the literal mentality that we got the right to do anything and everything we want to do to you, including endlessly, then you have the righteous, justified right to sit back and say, well, you got that posture with me, so what I'm going to do is expose every single motherfucking thing I find out about you and know about you. And that's what I do. Go to Google and type in mass shootings, voice-to-skull technology, and gang stalking. Now, since cyber surveillance is a method of gang stalking, meaning that they observe every single thing a victim puts online, well, let's just assume for a second they're watching me, my videos. So understand and know, you sick, satanic, fucking murdering maniacs, I'm always going to expose that. Until I'm dead. Always. Always. The threshold was passed long ago. I warned these motherfuckers for years to leave me the fuck alone. They won't. I can see that they're not only not leaving me alone, but they're fucking escalating it. So when somebody just says to you they're going to fucking do anything they want to you, endlessly, then you just say, okay, well, fuck you. I'll continue to expose every single fucking thing I know about you. So go to Google and type in rape and gang stalking, gang rape and gang stalking, human trafficking and gang stalking, police, fire department and gang stalking, okay? The Air Force, the Army, the Navy, okay? The DOD, Lockheed Martin, okay? And stay with my accounts. Because I can already see where they're attempting to take me to. So what do you got left? You can't fucking fight in court. Because these satanic fucking bitches got this whole entire program is protected. Why do you think it's so successful? Why do you think not one case is being investigated? Why do you think I see on fucking online every single fucking day massive amounts of victims reporting they're in real-time targeting? And that's separate from all the archive stuff that's already on the internet. You know, because all you got to do to really grasp this, if you're having a little bit of trouble grasping it, is say to yourself, when you look at yourself in the mirror, and you think to yourself, what your own brain has got its own innate mechanisms that have been that your brain has, that was created through evolution. Your body and your brain's main, most innate reflexatory function is to protect your brain and your body. Okay? Because that's why all people will run from a fire. That's why people will run from an auto accident that's happening right around them. Because that's your brain saying, get the fuck out. Okay? So, now you sit back and consciously think about how do you think you would feel if somebody set you up to be raped, human trafficked, brutally assaulted several times, tortured through directed energy weapons, and while they're destroying the rest of your life concerning shelter, relationships, okay, being able to feed yourself and that, because they fucking destroy everything. They don't want you to have the ability to fight back. And even if you were able to fight back, they would make sure you would never even see the light of day in court. So what they're basically telling you, through the experience and then through the educated knowledge of other victims who have already went down that far into the rabbit hole, okay, including many other people who are extremely accredited as well, they're all saying the same fucking thing. You'll never get no help. Now, that's already self-evident when you look at that I've been a victim of this crime since it openly started for 18 full fucking years. Every fucking day, everywhere I've went, everywhere I've lived in 4 states. So when some demonic bitch sits back and fucking develops a program and says, we're going to put whoever the fuck we want in it, and fucking cause them to endure unmeasurable suffering, Even the United Nations has declared gang stalking victims as being extreme torture victims. Then what do you think you got left to do? Expose them. And then they'll fucking start targeting your computers and phones that you're using to expose them. Or they'll start targeting your finances so you can't pay your phone bill. Okay? Or they'll, after they make you homeless, they'll run you out of one wooded area that's safer to be at by including with property owners and shit, so you're forced to go to somewhere else, like a more isolated area, so you can end up robbed, raped, or murdered. And then they'll just fucking use a patsy for that, or set up somebody who's totally innocent. And then that's boom. The exposure's gone. That is literally the mentality of these fucking mass murdering whores. They don't give a flying fuck. So, if you're hit in the brain with directed energy weapons, and your brain instantly perceives it, because it's done at you at the speed of light. And since what they're sending to you is microwave energy and non-ionizing and ionizing radiation, the brain instantly feels it. And check this out. The great majority of gang stalking victims, when they're being hit with this sick demonic shit that eventually kills them, they're being hit with it as they're fucking sleeping. Why do they wait until you go to sleep? Because they fucking know you're defenseless. You're totally defenseless when you're sleeping. So they'll hit you at low enough measures to where it won't wake you up. But then when they hit you all night at these low measures, by the time you wake up, it's already created an accumulative effect. So you wake up with a cooked brain, literally, just like you cook a piece of hamburger in the microwave, literally, okay? And you feel all the effects of it when you wake up. So imagine having to fucking get up and go somewhere while you're fucking dizzy, while your vision's all blurry, while you literally feel like your brain has been cooked. So just go to Google and type in cooked brain and gang stalking and directed energy weapons and see how many responses you get to that. So when no matter if you're being targeted while you're awake or if you realize you were targeted once you wake up, your brain is going to go in a disassociated state. If you're being targeted while you're awake, then you're going to have thought and emotional responses to that targeting. So now what the brain is doing is creating auditorial brain training pathways to a disassociated state, okay? Because all your internal dialogue is auditorial, just like you're hearing the sound of my voice now, okay? So what they're basically doing is in training neural pathways and training EEG signatures and intentionally inducing EEG signatures. So they can then create a specific frequency output from them. And they're intentionally exciting emotions so the emotional cluster frequencies can be created. And so then they can be joined together to the disassociated state so they can then heterodyne them. Now, I know if you don't know nothing about this technology or this crime, I know you're not understanding that, but trust me, you will over time if you research my statements. So go to Google and type in at Google Dr. Robert Duncan, okay? And the Matrix Deciphered, heterodyning, okay, directed energy weapons, remote neural monitoring, voice to skull. So as you're experiencing this, concerning what's being reported, hold on one second. So what I'm basically telling you is just one small aspect of the torture they're doing to victims. Remember, the United Nations did not declare gang stalking victims as being extreme torture victims for nothing. And it's even being reported now that some of this tech is being used even on Julian Assange. But they're keeping that shit real hush-hush. Oh, absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. I've seen the exposures on Twitter concerning it. And a lot of the things that's being reported about some of the things that he's enduring while he's in custody, okay, is identical to some of the shit that gang stalking victims are doing. Identical to a T. Because who the fuck is targeting him? The military intelligence agencies. And the military and the intelligence agencies is where these fucking weapons came from. You gotta understand something, man. These people will fucking torture an infant that can't even crawl yet to death just so they can heighten the mental torture of the parent who's watching it. So do you honestly think that these sound like sane people? They're fucking criminals to the extreme. Every last one of them belong in criminal insane asylums. Absolutely. And that includes if Lockheed Martin, because ex-NSA personnel are massively exposing, well, one is that I know of, is massively exposing that Lockheed Martin is responsible for the gang stalking going on in all 50 states. They're a fucking defense contractor. Now, Do you honestly think that I'm not going to be retaliated against for fucking exposing this? Every single time I've exposed this shit, I usually get immediately retaliated against. Either when I go to sleep at night, or the next day, or the next evening. But I don't fucking care, because they're not, whether I expose them or not, they're still going to attack me, because they are. They're fucking psychos. They're mass murdering whores. Hold on a second. And that's all they're ever going to be. And they're never going to admit to anything, because these sick fucks they know. The DOD and all these other satanic rats, they fucking know that if this gets out, this fucking country would be destroyed overnight. Overnight. Think about what I'm saying. Say if you turned on the national news, and it was covered on the national news that it's been discovered that the alphabet agencies and the DOD and all these other satanic rats have been sadistically, horrifically, heinously torturing hundreds of thousands of Americans every day for years at a time. This fucking fun country and the government and the military would literally fall overnight. Make no fucking mistake about it. They know it too. So who the fuck controls the media? Who do you think controls the media? If you don't think the deep state don't got their human trafficking asses infested within the fucking media, then you ain't educated enough yet. Oh, absolutely. So check this out, and I'm going to tell you one more aspect of what they additionally do when a gang stalking victim is being hit with directed energy weapons. This crime can project an EMF field into your home, into your living room, so it covers the entire living room, and it can be turned up to such a volume to where your whole entire body is doing nothing but absorbing high doses of radiation. Absolutely. Make no mistake about it. Now, you're going to tell me that that's the action of a sane agency, of a sane fucking person. Do you honestly think that if the government can kill you remotely while leaving no evidence, or not allowing no evidence to ever be discovered about how they murdered you sadistically, slowly, do you honestly think that if they could do that and get away with it, do you honestly think they wouldn't? If they wouldn't, then why are there tens of thousands of victims all over the internet every fucking day? Okay? And they're even doing this shit against whole families. Okay? See, so, let me tell you another thing that's massively reported concerning what these sick, twisted, mass-murdering whores are doing. If you were being subject to a vast majority of what this crime perpetrates and is exposed on the internet, trust me when I say you would be using this type of language too. Make no mistake about it. I've seen scientists call these people criminally insane animals. Okay? Absolutely. So, imagine if you're being hit with direct energy weapons while you're awake and while you're asleep. You instantly feel it when you're awake. If they hit you with a high enough dose. They'll even be sneaky and hit you with lower doses all day, so you don't really perceive it until it starts to create the accumulative effect. Because they know that if you're perceiving it, you're going to get up and walk around and try and escape it. So what they'll fucking do is just hit you at a lower dose all day long, so by the time evening comes, you're starting to feel it, and imagine that happening to a homeless person, including a homeless woman. Do you really think that fucking homeless woman's going to get up in pitch dark while she's being targeted by a crime that's responsible for murder, rape, gang rape, and robbery? Do you really think that woman's going to fucking get up and start walking around the fucking dark to escape it? They know that she won't. They can even neurally influence her not to, by and through using voice to skull with voice morphine. I better not get up. God only knows what can happen to me if I do. That's really, literally how sick these fucking psychos are. So, let me tell you just one fast aspect, one additional aspect of what they're doing to victims. Another way that they will entrain auditory entrain pathways to a dissociated state, to a brain state of pain, as the body and brain is going through the pain. Okay, they will then simultaneously use voice to skull to mock the victim about it. So that what they hear through voice to skull and or ELF broadcasting, the victim hears it, processes that auditorily, and then that becomes attached to the entrained pathway. That way, on subsequent dates, once they keep doing that and reinforce it, it's going to create a potentiated frequency output. That way, in the future, whenever that same voice print is heard through voice to skull, the brain will perceive it, it will excite the potentiated frequency from it, and excite the disassociated state. They can't have a thinking victim in real time. If they got a thinking victim who can engage in executive function, critical thinking, then that victim's going to be planning shit all day. Like, I can get up, I can do this, I can do that. You wouldn't believe all the other features of remote neural monitoring. Remote neural monitoring can blank your memory. It can confuse your thoughts. It can, if you're in a similar situation where you've been preparing to move, let's say for a month, and you got certain identical tasks that you got to do before you move on to another one. Well, when you start to do an identical task, your brain is starting to think about what you got to do. What they will do is kick back those older thoughts to you about what you got to do. And then maybe one of those older thoughts might be, well, I can't get this done until I do the other thing. And I can't do the other thing because a certain thing that's going on is not allowing me to do it, because if I do that, then everything can fall apart concerning my planning, concerning moving. Like, say if you got property that's already hidden, that you don't need to go into really until right before you move. So if you go into that property, that can turn out to be a whole day project because of the way it's hidden. Well, they already know all that because they're remotely neurally monitoring you. So then you think about, what can you do today in order to get that thing done? And so what they'll do to you is retransmit those verbal thoughts back to you when you had those thoughts on a prior date, that I can't do this because if I do this, I got to do the other thing, and then I won't be able to get nothing done. So they're literally locking up your thinking so you don't get nothing done, in order to keep you on the property that you're fucking at, so they can continue to hit you. And then if they have any way of seeing that you recognize this, then what they'll then do is start escalating the campaign of having people coming at you at the wooded area to set you up for a ticket, arrest, or trespass notice in order to force you off the property before you're prepared to move. This is your sick bitch demonic government. Now let me tell you something. There's literally videos online showing John Hall State, okay, that these fucking satanic rats got the ability to play back to the victim previously recorded verbal thoughts that they recorded from your subvocal speech. That's the fucking Louis. That's even been exposed on national radio, the fact that they can record your subvocal speech. Okay? So, they can force the brain to be entrained by and through traumatizing the brain with direct energy weapons, and as that trauma is going on and its pain effects that are long-lasting, including throughout the entire day, or even for 2 days or more, they will constantly hit that victim with voice to skull, and then the brain perceives it, and the voice to skull is doing nothing but repeating the same exact identical shit. And so the brain has become an auditorial brain trained to a disassociated state that the brain went into as a result of the brain perceiving the traumatic brain injury. This is how sophisticated this fucking program is. Now, do you really honestly think that that's the fucking behavior of somebody that cares about keeping you safe? Look at what the fuck is on the internet every fucking day and practically on the news every other day. Our government's doing this for you to keep you fucking safe. Well, if the police are caring about keeping us fucking safe, then why are state, county, and local cops all over the fucking internet to be directly connected to this fucking crime? In many ways. They don't give a fuck about your safety at all. They're fucking here to exploit you until they can murder you, and then after they murder you, they can even harvest your organs and fucking sell them. Who the fuck's gonna come to your behalf on it? If they did that to you today, and if you don't, like, say if they were hitting your kidney and giving you kidney disease so you didn't have kidney failure, and then you die, and so they harvest your lungs, your eyes, okay, your heart, how the fuck are your parents going to know that you actually died because of directed energy weapons attacking your fucking kidneys? They'll just make it appear that you died because of kidney failure for natural reasons. Hello? And they'll make massive monies off of insurance fraud under the guise of trying to treat it until they can then come and say, well, we can't do nothing more. I gotta let you go because it's getting dark and I gotta do a couple more things before it gets dark out. Everybody, thank you for listening. I wanted to bring this shit to your attention because as just an average person, just like you, as long as you're not a perpetrator watching this, because I don't consider you an average person. I consider you a criminally sane animal. Absolutely, at all times. Okay? So, imagine you just being an average person enduring any or all aspects of this fucking crime. A crime that you know you have no power over stopping. Forcing you to constantly endure it every single day and night of your life, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, while you're trying to fucking survive the homelessness that they put you in it, while they're destroying all the rest of your life, like your finances and your benefits, and other things they're fucking doing, stealing your shit, okay, destroying your electronics, so you gotta fucking replace them. Alright, I gotta literally let you go, because it's getting dark out, and I got a couple things to do before it gets dark out. So, everybody research what I stated extensively, go into the profile of this account, and make sure you go through that blog. Oh, and that blog's going to blow your mind. Oh, absolutely. It's going to blow your mind. So copy down the URL link in the title of this Periscope video. And by the way, when I made a video earlier today, I talked about a video that was, that part of its title was report number 18, sex trafficking, okay, and surveillance. Well, that video is in my blog. So if you watch that video earlier today, or if you go into the profile of this account and you watch it and you hear that, know that that video is in the blog. In fact, it's not even going to take you long to find it at all. Maybe about 5 minutes of scrolling. Okay? If that. So I want you to know that I wanted you to be able to watch that, because I mentioned in that video about how these satanic rats, concerning it being reported that they're putting stimulated responsive bladder implants in gang stalking victims and stimulated responsive implants in their bowel systems, and I talked about why that's being reported to be done. And so when you hear that woman in the video state that they can force you to go to the bathroom before you're naturally ready to go, that's one victim of fucking many that are on the internet saying that shit. So if you want to know how that can be done, just research stimulated responsive bladder implants in gang stalking and stimulated responsive bowel implants in gang stalking. And the video explains why, in part, that could be being done. Alright, I literally got to go. Thank you for listening. Everybody have a good night, and I'll talk to you later.